I flew on Hawaiian's Airbus A330. This 5-hour flight on the carrier's current flagship aircraft would take me from Honolulu, Hawaii to Portland, Oregon. Hawaiian Airlines operates 24 Airbus A330-200s for their long-haul flights across the Pacific, serving destinations as far away as Australia and the northeastern United States. They're also used on busy routes to the West Coast in conjunction with their smaller A321neos. Hawaiian has also been seen as one of the best domestic airlines in the US, offering what they call authentic Hawaiian hospitality on board. As one of just 2 A330 operators in the US too, they certainly seemed like a compelling option to get back to mainland North America, and subsequently home to Canada. So, after a fun joyride on their 717 earlier that day, we were back here at Daniel K. Inouye International Airport. For us Canadians, there are a couple of options year-round out of Honolulu to get us as far as Vancouver, but those are generally flown on 737s. As perfectly capable as those are, wide-body planes are inherently a little more interesting, and so Hawaiian's A330 seemed like a solid choice. As you can see, we got ourselves some unique-looking seats just forward of the second set of doors, and I'll talk about that a little later. Hawaiian Airlines is the sole airline in Terminal 1 here, and it's clear they've invested quite a bit in it over the years. For us, we'd be departing from the C gates today, which made for a nice walk through some open-air parts of the terminal. That got even better as the hallway opened up into this beautiful, unobstructed view of this part of the apron. Open-air airport terminals are not at all something I'm used to, so this was genuinely cool. From there, it was a bit more walking to the rest of the C gates, and these seem to handle exclusively wide-body flights. Unfortunately, we just missed ANA's A380 pushing back for Tokyo, which is also how we ended up here if you haven't seen that video yet. Honolulu is the only place you can see these rare A380s outside of Japan, so this was still a treat to see. Now that their third one has entered service though, they now fly these here twice a day on certain days of the week. Also at another gate was this Korean Air 7478 preparing for departure to Seoul. They seem to park planes pretty close to the building here, which was another bonus. It's definitely not every day I get to stand nose to nose with a 747. After grabbing some lunch, we came back here to find our ride across the rest of the Pacific today, a 6-year-old Airbus A330-200 registered as November 361 Hotel Alpha. This A330 was delivered new from Airbus in September of 2017 and has been with Hawaiian since. Interestingly, until a while ago, Hawaiian was one of the few major carriers that had ordered the Airbus A330-800neo. That came about because they had originally ordered the A350-800, which was cancelled entirely in 2014 in favor of the A330neo. The A330-800 is the same size as the 200, but it too has not sold terribly well, leaving Hawaiian to look for another alternative. So in 2018, Hawaiian announced an order for 10 Boeing 787-9s, which has since been up to 12, and the first of those will enter service next year. That's almost kind of a shame because 242 on the A330s is a far more comfortable layout than the 787's 333. The 787-9 does have the range to reliably reach Europe from Hawaii though, which could be a potential future market for them. Regardless, this flight today was a good opportunity to try out one of the US's more unique carriers. Besides, I did enjoy their hospitality on the 717 flights, so let's see if that holds up over the next 5 hours. My seat over to Portland is 11A in this, as you can see, interesting mini economy cabin. Right in front of this is Hawaiian's first class, but I guess with how the A330-200's floor space works out, they can only fit 3 rows of first and basically 1 full row of economy right behind it. In any case, row 11 has some good legroom to be expected in a bulkhead row, but not really any room to stretch. You do get 2 windows in this row, which I would eventually make use of. Once boarding finished up, Hawaiian's safety video played, and the bridge pulled away to reveal this excellent engine view. That just so happens to be a perk of sitting in this mini cabin, and that is part of the reason we paid a little extra. Now, before we push back, they started to play some Hawaiian music throughout the cabin, with the accompanying video on the screens in front, which was actually really nice, at first. It would have been nicer if they didn't then play the same 4 songs on repeat for the next 45 minutes. It also didn't help that we had a bit of a delay pushing back, and it kept going well into the taxi. I do think that's a nice touch by Hawaiian, especially given their history here, but let's just say there was an audible, collective sigh of relief when it finally stopped. Fortunately, that meant this seat would soon pay for itself with what was sure to be an excellent sounding departure. Please enjoy these gorgeous views of the island of Oahu as we depart Honolulu's runway 8 right. With that, we said goodbye to the last bit of land we'd be seeing for the next few hours. We had such a great, if not brief time in Hawaii, but it was good to be going home. At the bottom of the bulkhead in front was the seat back pocket, and in there was the air sickness bag and this oddly folded safety card for the A330. In these bulkhead seats, you'll find the tray tables in the armrests as usual. These fairly basic ones flipped out and could be moved a bit. Below there, between the seats, was my in-flight entertainment monitor as well as universal power outlets. The screen was a little bit finicky to get out, but is a decent size and sits at an okay angle. Also on the inside of my armrest were some controls for the IFE. The headrests here are all adjustable too, and there's still a decent amount of recline even with the wall right behind you. These seats though are kind of in an interesting spot, but not necessarily in a good way. With a wall directly in front of and behind you, it's not the most spacious feeling. This nice mood lighting came on though as we continued northeastbound towards Oregon. It was a beautiful evening over the Pacific, and looking out at nothing but water and clouds in every direction is really something.
Fruit juice, coffee, tea, and water. If you are 21 years of age, we are proud to offer you one complimentary pour of our pineapple punch. This drink does contain rum.
Shortly after that announcement, the in-flight service started. I got this cup of fruit juice and this pepperoni and cheese herb roll. That fruit juice was very tasty and came in this nice Hawaiian branded cup. The roll was also pretty tasty too, and was nice and warm, but maybe a bit dry. There were also some snacks available for purchase, but remembering at the last second that these are in American dollars, I decided against buying anything. Hawaiian's Airbus A330-200s seat a total of 278 passengers. At the front are those first-class seats from before, with 3 rows and a 2-2-2 configuration. Right behind there are the 1.5 rows they managed to fit, with 12 extra legroom seats, which Hawaiian calls extra comfort. The rest of the cabin is economy class seating, which Hawaiian calls their main cabin in the A330's standard 2-4-2 layout. In total, there are 18 seats in first class and 260 seats in main cabin, with 68 of those being extra comfort seats with more legroom. Hawaiian's aircraft all have individual names, with the A330s being named after important stars or constellations used by ancient Polynesian navigators. They had this little plaque by the L2 door talking about the star this aircraft is named after. There was also this lavatory by the L2 door, which was a bit narrow, but nothing too out of the ordinary. With the service all done and another 3 hours to go, I opened up the in-flight entertainment. Hawaiian has this pretty standard system on their A330s, but it had a huge selection with some Hawaiian content, plus the usual movies and TV shows. As you can see, the screen was a little bit slow to respond, but still usable. There were also some games to choose from, and a somewhat basic moving map, which was essentially the same one as the screen on the bulkhead. One thing I really liked though is that they had a section talking about the airline's history, all the way from their origins in 1929 until about 10 years ago. After that, the sun was starting to set, which was the main reason I picked a seat on this side of the plane. Around then, the crew also gave out some water. The colors on the horizon here were just stunning, and I enjoyed the view for a good 20 minutes or so. From then on, I made use of the IFE and also tried to sleep a bit, and eventually we could finally see some lights on the ground. So overall, I'd say this was a decent flight with Hawaiian Airlines. As basic as it was nice to have a hot, well, I wouldn't call it a meal necessarily, but something on a domestic flight. I did like the in-flight entertainment options. I love having the option to actually read about the airline and where they're from. I think that's something a lot more airlines could include, especially since in-flight magazines are far less widespread than they were. As for these seats, well, I would probably not pick these again. The knee space is good to have, as is the view in front of the engine for the airplane nerds, but it's still not super comfortable without the ability to stretch your legs out. The other thing is that Hawaiian charges a whopping $155, brace yourselves, American dollars for these two pairs of seats. Still, it was nice to try something different and fly with an airline that I ordinarily wouldn't have had the chance to. Maybe someday Hawaiian will consider expanding to Canada, but until then, this was an enjoyable way to try out one of the US's most unique airlines. Thanks so much for watching this flight with Hawaiian's Airbus A330, and I will see you next time.